All right. So today I'm going to talk to you about wildfires. So the past year, California has gotten a tremendous amount of rain. And this amount of rain has filled our reservoirs and made an explosion of plantation life here in California. So you may enjoy driving up and down the coast, looking at all the flowers and all the plants that are growing. But when I drive up and down the coast, I just see a natural disaster waiting to happen. All that plant growth causes for a bunch of unburned fire fuel that can burn up California. So what are wildfires? Wildfires are fires in rural or high vegetation areas that have urban life and a lot of vegetation. So Cal Poly is considered in a rural area. And they cause millions of dollars worth of damage. In the Insurance Information Institute, published by the NFIC in 2015, the 2015 wildfire, the Valley Fire, cost $900 million in insured losses. And that's not even the highest one. The highest one was in 1999 in Oakland, and it cost $2.5 billion. So, there are three different types of categories of fires. There are crown fires, which involve an entire forest from the very base to the very top of the trees. Then there's a surface fire, which a surface fire is just all little plants and shrubs on the base of the ground. And then a ground fire is a fire underneath in the roots of a tree that you can't even see. All right, why are they dangerous? Besides fire being fire, they create a lot of air pollution. A lot of ash and smoke can travel hundreds of miles and get into your air that you breathe, and that's not good for you. And then a lot of homes are threatened in the wildland-urban interface. The wildland-urban interface are where urban cities, suburbs meet wildland. Cal Poly is in the wildland-urban interface. There's a lot of vegetation around us, a lot of hills. Not good for a fire. And then thousands of acres burn all the time. So in NFPA's 2016 survey on Statista, California had 560,000 acres burned in 1 year, while Delaware had 0 acres burned. And then they are unpredictable. Fires can happen anytime. We have no warning, no idea when they can happen. Okay, how do fires start? So we have to go back to the fire triangle, which I'm sure all of you have heard before, but we're going to go into a little bit more detail. So for the fire triangle, you need 3 essential things for the fire to happen. You need fuel, which creates essentially the heat for everything to burn. And fuel, such as shrubs and trees that are 100 feet tall to everything that's on the ground, that's considered fuel. And then heat is the ignition source. You could have lightning, a campfire that wasn't put out properly, or a cigarette butt that was thrown out of the window. And then oxygen. Our atmosphere consists of 21% oxygen, and it's all around us. In David Buttry's 2009 article, Fighting Fire with Fire, he describes several ways as to how firefighters go about putting out fires. So in order to put out a fire, you need to break one of the 3 parts of the fire triangle. Fuel. You can cut line in the hill that was just essentially taking away all the vegetation down a bare mineral soil, so when the fire comes, there's nothing to burn, there's just soil. Heat. You can take away the heat. You can put water on the fire, which is the most typical way, and that takes away the heat, putting out the fire. And then oxygen. You could smother the fire by putting a bunch of dirt on it, which takes away the oxygen, and then the fire goes out. And so you need to take away one of the 3 parts of the fire triangle in order to put it out. But before we put it out, we have to know how the fire acts, so we don't go running into a fire and get ourselves killed. So first, you need to know about the 3 parts of the fire behavior triangle. Fuel. Dry fuel burns a lot faster and a lot hotter than a green, growing fuel. So if there's dry plants, then that's going to burn a lot more than green trees that are growing. And then weather. Warm weather creates for heated fuels that are ready to ignite. If you look at a fire and you think, all right, well, is it more likely it's going to burn at 9 a.m. in January or 1 p.m. in July, where it's a lot hotter, the air is drier, and the fuels can ignite easier? And then in Philip Higuera's 2015 article, High fire activity of recent decades will likely continue into the future as temperatures increase. So this shows a direct correlation between global climate change and wildfires. The more our atmosphere temperature rises, the more fires can occur. And then topography, slope and aspect. So a fire will burn a lot slower on flat ground as opposed to if it's on a hillside where it can just shoot right up the mountain. And then aspect, that's the northwest, east, south facing part of the mountain. A north part of the mountain gets a lot less sunlight and is typically a lot greener. On the south side, that gets a lot of sunlight, it can burn a lot easier. And when all of these are in alignment, that's not good. So how do we fight them? With hand crews, which are special firefighters trained specifically for wildfires, prescribed burns, we could burn fuel ahead of time so there's not a whole lot to burn when there's a natural disaster. Water drops, drop water on the fire, pretty easy, and then let it burn. If it's in a contained area and we know it's not going to spread to anywhere dangerous, we could let the fire just burn itself out. Preventing wildfires. Mitigation. Mitigation is managing the vegetation in areas so that it doesn't get overgrown and cause potential hazard. In Tommy Wright's 2017 Public Works article, residents should clear vegetation 100 feet around all structures in order to prevent fires from reaching houses, saving a lot of money and a lot of lives. Educating the public. You can tell the public about the mitigation and about just awareness, and that will help prevent fires. And then avoid accidental fire starters. Don't throw your cigarette butt out the window. Make sure you put your fire out when you're camping. And then call 911 at any sign of a fire. Whether it's a barbecue, you're not sure, call. They're perfectly willing to go look and see if it's an actual fire.